Hello and welcome to the webinar, How to Make $70,000 a Year as a Food Coach. We're just waiting for everyone to get in and arrive. We've just got a minute or so before the webinar is actually scheduled to start. And so I just want to say hello and encourage you to get started, to get seated, get comfortable, make sure that you have a nice glass of water or a cup of tea or something that will freshen your palate, and to make sure that you have no distractions and obstructions that are actually preventing you from being present. So yeah, and just to kind of get ready and get ready to be present for something that I believe has the power to kind of get you on the track to be making sure that you're making the kind of money that you deserve to be making as a food coach, as someone who's really wanting to make the world a better place. So if for some reason, I'm just getting my slides, making sure that everything is working. My screen, and for some reason, technology is such a crazy thing. Let's see if this is helping me. No, for some reason, my cursor is not allowing me to come down to my other screen. So I'm not sure what's going on there. There we go. Oh, thank you. Whew. Okay. Okay, so I just want to say thank you to those who've actually showed up and to give you a bit of a congratulations and a shout out. So this webinar, for those of you who are just joining us, is how to make $70,000 a year as a food coach. And for those of you who may not know who I am, if you've just found this link through a Facebook posting, or you have not actually had me speak before or been present to hear me speak, my name is Sherry Strong, and my background is as a chef, nutritionist. I had a cooking school in Australia since 1993, and I moved back to Canada in 2011 to start the Javala Holistic Culinary Academy, which turned into the Return to Food Academy. And my kind of life journey, I'll talk a little bit about it more as we go through the webinar, but it really has been, as a nutritionist, then essentially a food coach, helping people develop a healthier relationship with food, their body, and the planet, to then teaching other people how to do the food coaching methods that I had developed over 2 decades to then help people develop that healthier relationship with food. And because I had a very different model to what the prescriptive kind of traditional model was, I had a very different reaction from people and a lot of success that I didn't have when I did the kind of typical practitioner model. So I'd like to share that with you a little bit about how I work tonight and how you can actually apply those principles in your own life and your own business to be more effective with your clients. So that's what I want to share. Before I get started, I just want you, if you're able to, in the little chat area, if you can just say hello and let people know that you're here. And if you're able to just say hello, let us know who you are, and then I have a question for you. And I think you're online because, like all of us, we're constantly learning and growing and looking for answers to get better and improve. Hello, Chris. Thank you for joining us. And also, I think we're all facing challenges within business and work, and you never stop facing challenges. You just tend to grow to a new level and grow from there. So everyone's coming along saying hello. Hi, Amy, Amanda, Dora, Rochelle, Brandy, Heather, Ginny. Oh my goodness, Christine, Crystal, Sylvia, Yumi. Welcome. Hello, Dawn. Very exciting to have you guys online. Tamara, I'm not sure. Depends, tomato. And Deanne and Tanya. Here we go. This is awesome. So I'm really excited that you've all shown up. And I want to thank you and congratulate you for showing up, because this is the thing that makes such a difference in our lives. Hello, Karen from Napa. I was just in Napa last weekend, attended an amazing lunch at William Cole Winery. It's a real gift from my dear friend Lorraine, who I was staying with in San Francisco. So it's a beautiful part of the world you live in, Karen. And hello, Lynn and Tanya. So awesome, guys, gals, that you're here online. So if you can just pop into the chat room, what are the things that you're most challenged by now? Remember, this whole webinar is about helping us kind of propel ourselves further. And don't be afraid to share what's going on for you, because what you'll find is that the chances are, if you're experiencing it, someone else has, or they are experiencing it as well. And the more transparent you are with what it is that's going on for you, the more I'm able to really get a sense of where you are and to be able to help you. Now, I've got some material that I really believe will help you on your journey, but every little bit of insight that you give me obviously has another layer of value to it. So don't be shy, pop that in. And in the meantime, I'm actually going to get started on the presentation. So I just wanted to kick off with that. Whew. Okay. Oh, okay. So thank you. Finding new clients. Christine's asking about putting myself out there. This is awesome. I'm almost finished with my certification program, and I need ideas for where to start, from Amanda. Thank you, Amanda. Rochelle, just finishing my internship, and I'm excited but overwhelmed by getting started in general after that. And Heather, getting started once I finish school. There's definitely a theme of getting started. Chris, lack of belief that I can make it work. I can definitely relate to that, Chris. Finding clients, where to begin, Amy asks. And Amy, ditto to all of the above. And Dora, finished Natural Chef program a few years back and have not started a business. Well, I just want to assure you that you are in the right place. And I really do believe that what we're covering today will help you. And I just want to reiterate again, I might sound a bit redundant, but thank you for showing up, and congratulations, because it's actually by showing up and being here that you actually get tools and information to take yourself to the next level. And that is my role in life, is to serve you getting to the next level. So just to give you a little bit of background of myself, I've shared the stage with some pretty amazing people over the years. And I have had the privilege of working with some really amazing people. So you might recognize these people up on this panel that I spoke with at Get Calgary Healthy, which is Joel Salatin, who wrote This Ain't Normal, Folks. David Wolfe. You can't be in this field without knowing David Wolfe. And the author of Wheat Belly, and Dr. Saul, who's, pioneer and working with vitamin C and healing disease. So that's kind of just a little sampling. Some people who you may and may not recognize here. You may recognize their names, so where they're standing is in the world, like Jamie Oliver. There's Carrie Ann Kennelly in Australia. I was in Australia for 22 years and was known in media there. The Princess Takamoto in the bottom left-hand corner she's the royal family in Japan, who congratulated me 3 times after my TED Talk. And Mariel Hemingway and Bobby Williams, her partner, down there in the middle at the bottom. And people, most of you are from the United States, so you may not recognize the people in the top left-hand corner, but that is Theo Fleury, who's an NHL hockey player, and Brett Wilson, who is a Canadian billionaire who is on the Dragon's Den, which is the Canadian version of Shark's Tank. So these are just some of the interesting people I've worked with over the years. And I can honestly say that even though I had some amazing success, not unlike many of you, I've had my own kind of transformational journey with food and relationship with eating and food, and experiences that weren't so pleasant and were really a love-hate situation. So here's a picture of me at a size 16. I often joke that I was twice my present size, not 10'4". Haven't had a height reduction. And you can see there's some pictures of me where I'm looking not so healthy, and my smile was not really, I would say, a truly natural smile. And through the process of many years of studying nutrition and being a chef, and then starting to work with clients, I've had my own demons to face, for lack of a better word. I've had, things that I needed to learn about myself and a journey to go on. And I've used all of that to put into the work that I'm doing. And in the book, Return to Food, which many of you actually have purchased, through this webinar and the Zoodle Maker. Yay, thank you for that. You'll actually discover my journey. So I'm not sure if you got your books yet, but they were mailed out last week and a couple were mailed out this week. Just want to quickly say welcome to Shannon in Mendocino, also a lovely part of the world. And just to quickly acknowledge Karen, who says, I feel saturated in my area and I need new strategies. Karen, that's definitely something we're going to talk about in a bit. So welcome and thank you guys. So I've had my before and after journey. I'm sure you guys have. Oh, Amy's got the book. Awesome. I'm sure that many of you got into this work either because they've had their own transformational journey around food, or they have witnessed a lot of suffering from other people and really wanted to be part of the solution. Okay, so is anyone else having difficulty hearing? Because Shannon said that she wants to listen to this later because she's having difficulty hearing. If so, just let me know and I'll see if I put my ear set in and maybe that's not being helpful. We'll see. Nope, Dora's fine. Okay, well, hopefully the recording, it will all be fine for you, Shannon. So I'm not sure if it's your end or my end, but let's keep going. So this is something that I've had a love-hate relationship with, and many of you might relate to what I'm going to tell you and talk to you about. This is a picture of a chocolate cake, and this is very, very similar to the chocolate cake that I used to make when I was first starting my business. And I started up my business before there was internet. Well, there was internet, but it was pretty basic. I didn't have a website. I had a little brochure, 3-page brochure that I made on the computer and had printed on my computer, 3-page, 2-sided, 3-fold brochure. And I didn't know what I was doing. I actually started this business. I quit my full-time job because I wanted to start a cooking school, but I had no idea where to start. And I'm sure many of you can relate when you're just starting that this can be quite a tricky thing. And I felt a great deal of insecurity. I felt fear. I felt embarrassed. I didn't know where to go to ask for help. I didn't know who to ask for help. I had this feeling that I should, or belief that I should be able to do this on my own. And the truth is that when you're getting started, no one can do this on their own. You alone are responsible for what you do, but you need to tap into resources to get started and going. But at that time, I couldn't see any resources, and there was nowhere near what we have available online. And so I would start off my day in my office, which had a beautiful little setting looking out into the backyard full of trees and a beautiful deck. And I would sit by my computer, sit in front of it, and start to think, okay, what am I going to do today? I had no idea where to start. And it wasn't the first day that this would happen. And I remember this one day where I thought, I know, I'll make a chocolate cake. Because often when we're uncomfortable, we go to that place where we default to what's kind of natural for us. And because I'd had a cooking, a background as a chef and cooking, and I thought I had a cooking school going, I was projecting, I decided this morning to make a chocolate cake. And I made a beautiful chocolate cake, dense and thick and rich. And it had a chocolate ganache icing. And I made the batter and I put it in the oven and I made the icing and had it ready on standby. And I went back to my desk while it was baking. And I made a phone call. I was trying to reach out to a newspaper, I remember, and asking them, if I could be featured editorial, but I didn't know how to ask. I didn't know the proper way to ask. And I was so insecure that it was screaming through the phone. I was talking in this timid voice and I didn't know how to ask. I didn't know the words. I didn't know the phrasing. And I felt terribly insecure. So when I got a no, or they weren't interested because they were sensing my lack of confidence, I got off the phone and I just felt terrible. And I thought, what the hell am I doing? Have I done something really stupid? Can I get my job back? I was totally stressed out. And the cake was done. And so I went into the kitchen to get it ready for icing it. And I sliced off, when you make a cake and it kind of has that little curve and a mound. Well, I sliced it off to make it level, like the cake you see here, and I ate it. And as the drugs were going through my body, the sugar, the chocolate, the butter, the opiates in the flour, all that kind of thing, I felt a little release and a little bit of tension. And for that moment, while I was eating that cake and thoroughly enjoying it, I was forgetting about all my insecurities and that I didn't know what I was doing. And when I finished it, I went back to my desk and I searched for a few things. I made a few calls. I pretended to be working. I was busy in my office, but I wasn't actually doing anything. And I felt that bit of insecurity, and I went back and I iced the cake because that's where I felt comfortable, in my kitchen. And I took a little slice of the cake and ate it and felt good for that moment. And then I went back to my desk. And this was about morning tea time. And I did something in my office, shuffling papers, writing something, but not sure what I was writing. And I went back to the kitchen to have a little slice of cake because it was morning tea. I made a cup of tea, had a bit of cake, and went back to my office, was feeling uncomfortable. And then it was lunchtime. And I had a bit of cake with my lunch. And then I went back to my desk, feeling uncomfortable. And I decided it was a bit chilly. So I went to my bedroom to get a sweater to keep me warm, which just happened to be on the way to the kitchen, and had a bit of cake. And by the time it was about 3:30, 4 o'clock, 3/4 of the cake was gone. And I was embarrassed and I was ashamed. And there was a quarter of cake left. And I thought, well, do I throw it away? I thought, no, that's ridiculous. You can't throw it away. Chocolate cake that's been made with Calibo chocolate and organic ingredients and Madagascar bourbon vanilla and organic butter. And so I thought, well, what, do I freeze it? Or no, because it'll be in the freezer and my husband will come home. I was married at the time, and he's going to, well, what's this? Where's this cake come from? Where's the rest of it? And I thought, well, if I give it to my neighbor, Frida, an elderly woman, she's going to come over and thank me for the cake. And then my husband's going to wonder, where's my cake? And of course, you know where the story's going. I ended up eating the rest of the cake, the entire cake, and feeling like I didn't get anything done that was of value that day, and feeling awful because I'd eaten the cake, and feeling really lost about how I was going to do this thing that I knew I was meant to be doing in the world, but I had no way of doing it. Now, I don't know if you can relate to it, but I think I use chocolate cake as a metaphor, and chocolate cake for me has changed over the years. So when I changed my eating behaviors and I was no longer twice my size, sometimes chocolate cake became dried apricots. Sometimes it became just lots of cups of tea, or organic, raw chocolate, or sometimes it became running. Sometimes we have these things that we go to that are comfort zone, that bring us a good feeling, that are healthy for us. But if we're doing it, even if it's healthy, as an act of avoidance of getting on with what it is we're meant to be doing, it's going to leave us feeling not so good about even the healthy things that we're doing. So just in the chat, if anyone here can relate to chocolate caking it, just say a yeah, or tell me what your chocolate cake is, if you can relate to this at all. No pressure, but let me know if you can actually relate to the chocolate cake story. Because we have something that we're meant to be doing, and we need to get on with it. And there's a lot of noise out there in the world that's trying to send people towards getting back to being healthy, getting back to be real, but it's not working. And why it's so important for you to not be chocolate caking it is because you've got some, what I believe, some really special and sacred work to be doing. Okay, so thank you, Tanya, Dora, Amy, and Chris, to let me know I'm not alone. Okay, and when you have something really important to do, and you've been there and you're chocolate caking it, we have to get over this, right? Yeah, I can see some messages coming up here. Absolutely. I love your transparency, Amanda. Absolutely. I used to hide empty packages in the garbage can. I mean, I think most of us who've had a food journey can relate to some kind of funny things like that. So what is it that you most want to do in this world? I just want you to kind of think to yourself, feel free to share it in the chat roll. But what is it that you feel that you are here to do, that you're just like everything in your life has brought you to this moment to be doing? My guess is that everyone's here because they want to help people. And that that there's noise out in the world that's really confusing people. Here's an article you'll see that was a recent article in the New York Times about The Biggest Loser contestants, how they're actually regaining the weight. And I was on an airplane one time with someone who had asked me what The Biggest Loser was. It was in 2009. I was on a flight from LA to Dallas, and this guy knew what I did for a living. He said, what do you think about The Biggest Loser? And I went into this huge kind of rant about, you mean the biggest eating disorder? And this is actually an illustration from the book. If you guys have Return to Food, you'll see that this is one of the illustrations. I went on this big rant about why it was so unhealthy. And I'm sure you all have your ideas and opinions on it too. And I said, certainly anyone who's put in a bubble, given an incentive of millions of dollars and endorsements, and financial, huge financial incentives, personal trainers to work with you every single day, a chef to cook all your meals, and huge amount of pressure from millions of people watching you. Who couldn't lose weight under those circumstances, right? And then I went in to talk about the really unhealthy psychological factors that the show promotes. And then I just happened to look up at the guy's hat, his baseball cap, and I saw The Biggest Loser was on it. And have you ever had one of those moments where you've just realized you stuck both of your feet into your mouth? And I said, do you have anything to do with the program? And he's like, yeah, I'm one of the casting directors. But here's the thing. He actually acknowledged a few of the points that I made. And maybe you're like me, is that you really feel that there are things that are happening in the world, messages around health and eating, that are creating more of a disordered relationship with food. And I think you do, because I'm seeing here people, Brandy, you want to work with children. Deanne, you want to help people get healthy and live life to the fullest. Rochelle, you want to help families navigate food allergies and sensitivities. Dora, you want to teach people to cook healthy and live healthy. And Amanda, you want to help people understand that it's not just about weight loss, but health. And the weight loss is the icing once we're nutritionally sound. So we're all definitely on the same page. And we all want to help people. And I think, we want to leave the world better than we found it and really contribute to the world being in a place where it's better for our children and our children's children. So this is for you to just kind of write down notes. You can put it in the chat if you haven't already. And you can also write it down for yourself, because I want you to really get real for where you are. What is the most painful challenge that you're facing right now professionally? So many of you haven't started, and that might just be fear of where to get started. And that's a real kind of place of discomfort. And while you're writing this down, I want you to know that it's very normal when you are on your hero's journey. You'll see in Return to Food, there's the holistic hero's journey that I talk about. And if you're on this call, you're on the holistic hero's journey. It's very normal to feel discomfort. It's often normal to actually feel pain around that, around the not knowing. And one of the things that I have learned professionally that has helped me get stronger and show up more regularly is being willing to feel comfortable with the discomfort, to just know that that's part of growing and growth. Okay? It's part of the process of growing in yourself and in your business. And one of the best ways to grow your business is to grow yourself. Now, it's really important not to get lost in growing yourself, where you're actually saying, I'm just growing myself and then the business will take care of it. You have to do both simultaneously, even if it's just doing one thing in each area at each time. But the biggest challenge I believe that all of us face in any given moment is overcoming our own self-doubt. And so we're going to talk a bit about this tonight. So what I'm going to be sharing with you, I'm going to talk about 4 things that you need to succeed in this business, because this is a very different business to most businesses out there. It's not your standard sell something addictive, which is a super easy way to make money. And the biggest mistakes that will keep you broke and struggling. And I'm going to tell you these mistakes because I have made them. And I'm going to show you a sample of how to make $70,000 a year. And I'm also going to be opening up to questions and answers, right? So I also want to make an offer to help you in your journey. And I hope you'll stick around to the very end, because I have a very special bonus that I've created for tonight, for those of you who want help in your journey and would like to really get to where it is that you want to go further, farther, and faster. Okay, so just quickly looking in the chat room, Karen, she says, I'm known as a healthy chef, but I don't have much income to show for it. Yes, Karen, I can totally relate to that. And what I want for you is that you have a healthy income to match the healthy chef, that you are rewarded in the world for the value you're putting out to the world. And Dawn says she wants to eradicate cancer through healthy living. All noble thoughts. So let's get started. Okay, so I just want you to say to you to start off with it, the biggest mistake that you could ever make in the next 90 minutes that we're going to be spending together is to think that somehow I'm different to you. Somehow I've been given an opportunity that you haven't been given, that I have resources that you haven't got or haven't had in the past, and that somehow I was genetically brought into the world different to you. And I want to assure you that is absolutely not the truth, in that I believe every single person has unique gifts that they're given. And if you're on this call, you definitely have the resources to create the same success in your life that I've created in my life. I think one of the things that I have, that I know that's made the difference between myself and many people who started on the path at the same time as me, is I just won't give up. I just know that I'm meant to be doing this work in the world. I know it without a shadow of a doubt. And as scary as it was, learning how to make an income doing it, I just never gave up, because I knew in my gut and my heart, not only did the world need this work, but I needed it. I needed it to feel that like I was actually doing the thing that I was here on earth to do. Can anyone relate to that? Can anyone relate to the fact that you actually feel that you were born to be doing this work? Well, there's many ways of actually doing it. And Dawn's just brought out that in the US, there's some strict laws in being able to give nutrition counseling. And it's definitely happening in Canada, and definitely in Australia. It's definitely happening worldwide. And there are good and bad reasons for that, in that, you know, some people have actually been really careless and in their nutritional advice. And at Return to Food, we're really, we're really passionate about basically just getting people back to eating real food, because like Dawn was saying about eradicating cancer through healthy living, just imagine if we went back to 100 years ago, what our lives were like, that we would be having much different cancer rates than we have right now. So here we go. Let's make the assumption that I'm making about you is that you're intelligent beyond what you know, that you're highly capable, that you have resources available to you that you may not even be aware of right now, and that you're passionate and you're willing to actually dig in and do some work to make what it is that you want to happen in your life. Because if you are, you're in the right place. And I want you to just write down any and all questions that you have for the end of the session, because I definitely want to go over and answer all your questions. Don't be shy, because you'll be amazed at some of the questions you'll think are just too simple. There's never such a thing as too simple of a question. I promise you, if you're having it, the chances are that someone else will have that question. So if you just have a pen and paper handy, please write down all the questions you may have or pop them in the chat roll, and I promise I will get back to them. If I haven't raised it by the end of the call, just rewrite it into the chat roll and I will answer it. Okay, so let's get started. What I'd like you to do for a moment is if you could just close your eyes for a moment and visualize what your best life looks like. Where do you live? Your best life. How much do you work? Who's around you? What does your average day look like? Who are you helping? Who are you serving in the world? Are you traveling? Are you working on your own farm? Are you combining different modalities of healing? Maybe some yoga, doing some retreats? Are you speaking at conferences, schools, community groups? Are you online? So you're traveling the world with your computer, your little 15-inch MacBook Pro. What does your best life look like? I want you to keep that in mind. And when you have time after this call, because we don't have time to go into it right now, I want you to go into detail about what that life looks like. Because I believe it's possible. Unless you have some like really bizarre, crazy, impossible dream that, requires 3 lifetimes to achieve, or some physical ability that you're absolutely not capable of. For most of us, we want to just live a really good holistic life. No one gets attracted to this career because they want to get rich quick, or they want to have, want to have the kind of wealth that they're going out to, buy shoes all the time. It's very rare. And when you actually get to what it is that nourishes and feeds your soul, it's very seldom shoe shopping every day. That might be nice, but I promise you, even if you got insanely wealthy tomorrow, that it wouldn't feed you and fuel you like this work does. So just go into detail to do this little exercise, because it's really powerful, writing down what it is that you want and really asking your heart and asking your soul what it is you want. What does it look like? Because I want for you what you want for yourself, but I also want something that a lot of people don't think of. I want what you need, because sometimes those are 2 different things. And you're going to need some tools, and you're going to need some things along the way that are going to help you get what it is that you want in life. And it's very rarely that we get what we want in our life without taking care of what it is that we need. So just to reiterate, if you're looking for a get-rich-quick magic pill answer, this is not the call for it. It's not the place for it. But if you're looking for direction, for information, for tools, tips, strategy, for inspiration and motivation to get you to where it is you want to be, to do that thing that you were born to do, you're definitely in the right place. So let's get started. You can have your dream life and your dream business. And just to let you know, I am not talking about this from someone who's a gonna be or a wannabe. I've actually done this. So I have spoken around the world. I've been on television shows in different countries. I'm in the process of filming a series for local television here in Canada, and working on another one with Mariel Hemingway. We're working on a treatment for it right now. I've written the book, Return to Food. I'm working on my 2nd book. And I've also managed to have success, not just for myself, speaking around the world, but for my students as well. In fact, I just got in the mail today. One of my students is Julie Cove, who's just written and produced the most beautiful cookbook with Random House, an imprint here, called Appetite. And it's Eat Better, Live Better, Feel Better. This is a 300-page full-colored recipe book, and I was the person who introduced her to that publisher. There's Chloe's Countertop, who is she's a blogger and a writer, based in Dubai, has just moved back to North America. And Sam Dobo, who's another student of mine, who's starting her own business with microgreens and nutritional advice around that, and doing classes. And I have many students who are actually teaching and doing classes and workshops around the world and really changing people's lives. So it's not just about what I've done, but the big thing that I love about what I'm doing now is I'm helping people to do what it is that I have done, and to do it more effectively and with less stress and pain and wasting resources and money and time and angst to do it. So the number one mistake we tend to make is thinking that we're you Inc. or me Inc. and that we have to do it alone. And though I'm very, very clear that you alone are responsible for what it is you're meant to be doing in this world, you can't do everything alone. You need to find resources, and you need to find people who are going to help you to do what it is you're going to do. And the great thing is, I can honestly say we've never lived in a better time in humanity than now, because there are so many resources available to us. You don't have to do like I did and start off with a phone book and internet. When I was working first on the internet, hardly any businesses were registered, and I didn't even know how to work it. I remember surfing the web like I was a 2-year-old trying to figure it out. So don't try and do this on your own. You want to, the antidote for that is to actually find your tribe and stick with them. Now, I know what happens to a lot of people who are in school. They say to themselves, yes, let's keep in touch after school. And what happens is it starts to dwindle out. That when you actually leave school, you get an initial kind of support. And some people get into the mode of feeling that there's competition out there, that your other graduates are actually your competitors. I totally think the opposite, and believe that your fellow students, the people you go to school with, the tribe, the people who believe what you believe, can be not only your greatest allies, but a great source of helping one another to create income. And I talk about that when I work with the Return to Food Academy. But you need to find your tribe, and whether that's on Facebook in different groups that you belong to, or actually networking groups, or finding the tribe that you're going to serve, you need to get access to them, and you need to stick with them, and you need to participate and be active in there. The more active you are, the more of a voice you are, the more questions you're asking, the more help you're offering to other people, the more engaged you are. You create a sense of community that creates a tighter bond with them, and you're able to help one another to get to the next level of what you're doing. So the antidote to doing it alone is to get coaching and get into community. And there are literally so many resources out there. A lot of it's free. Here's 2 things that I will warn you about. Don't follow too many different people who are giving you advice, because what it can do is it can put you in a perpetual state of learning and not taking action. So you want to find coaches who are very much action oriented at getting you to do what it is you need to do to take you to the next level. And the other thing is don't get lost in community where you're not actually taking action. So sometimes we can be spending time on Facebook under the guise that we're actually getting into community and helping, and 2 hours have gone by and we haven't actually done anything that moves our business along, or the process of actually getting engaged in what it is that's going to create your business. So those are things to think about. Mistake number 2, don't make anyone else responsible for your success. Now, it seems like I'm contradicting myself, where I'm saying don't do it alone, but don't make anyone else responsible for your success. That does not infer that we have to do everything ourselves. What it means is that you alone are responsible for your success. No one else can do it. And I know if you're anything like me, you may have had a fantasy. And that fantasy might go a little bit like this. You know what? I'm just going to get really good at teaching and speaking and, cooking classes. And someone will come into my life and they will take care of all the business stuff, all the techie stuff, all the selling stuff that I hate doing or I'm uncomfortable doing. Just let me know in the chat roll if anyone can relate to that fantasy. I'm just going to take a little sip of water. Okay, it turned out being more than a sip, but that is a really common mistake and fantasy that happens to keep a lot of people broke and struggling, because there are certain things that you need to learn how to do, even if your business gets so successful that you can no longer do them. You often have to do them in the first place to then know how to delegate. Very few people start off in this business with unlimited resources. and they're just going to go out into, get business done by hiring everyone to do the stuff they dislike. As icky as it feels sometimes, you have to do this. You have to learn how to do this, right? So, and don't worry, if you have no business experience, remember, I had no business experience. And a lot of people said I had no business being in business. And I had a lot of opposition when I first started my business. And people who thought I was just kind of, well, a little bit crazy, right? And it was only when I started to get serious about learning different aspects of my business and understanding that there was going to be no one who would come in and rescue me. And I've had over the years different partners who have come in, whether they've romantic partners or business partners come in. And you know what? It didn't work. It didn't work because our visions were different, or they were controlling. They had a certain idea about how I should do things, and it didn't actually feel right for me. Didn't actually sit well with my value system. And there are literally tons of reasons why it didn't work out. But ultimately, I really feel that we're meant to learn the basics within our business, get good at them, and be working at them and understand them, so that when we get to the point where we're so successful because that we can't do it anymore and we have to delegate it, we're in a much better, stronger position to delegate it. So the antidote to this is you alone are responsible for your success, but you don't have to do it alone. So it's about, again, getting into tribe, reaching out when you need that help, trying to find the solutions, and being clear that you don't have to know everything. And if you just have the intention that you want to achieve something and that you're willing to put in the work, the resources and the answers will actually find you. Okay, so when you give others the power for your success or failure, you also give up to them your power to grow. And so this is the beautiful thing about taking responsibility, is it also grows us. And there's very little that happens within running a business in this area that you can't figure out, that you can't grow into being able to do. It's just about being committed to it and showing up every single day and just starting with your list. It doesn't have to be a long and exhaustive list, but just starting with that list. Okay, what am I going to do today? Getting focused, understanding how it is that you are productive. You know, what's the way that's going to actually make you the most productive, because it's not necessarily the same for everyone. And getting to the business of getting it done. So mistake number 3 is waiting for it to be perfect before you start. I certainly have, this has stopped me up many times. And one of the things where I do believe that I've actually managed to have the success that I've had is when I didn't allow perfection to get in the way of getting things done. And I lived by a motto when I've been the most productive and achieved the most. It's because I lived by the motto of good enough. And when I'm saying good enough, I'm not saying that I threw things together terribly, but I did the best with the resources and the skills that I had at that time. And it was good enough because it was the thing that I learned from. And the next time I did it a bit better because it was easier. So I could actually put more resources into making it better. So don't wait for it to be perfect before you start. Remember what Goethe said. He said, whatever you can do or dream you can do, you can. Begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. And just to go a little bit further, the antidote is magic shows up when I'm taking action. Okay, so his quote is, until one is committed, there's a hesitancy, the chance to draw back, always ineffectiveness concerning all acts of initiative and creation. And I've seen this many times in my life. When I was doing things half-heartedly, or I was just fearful dipping my toe in the water, I never had the success of when I absolutely sat down and focused and cut out every other distraction and went for it. He goes on to say, there's one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans, that the moment one definitely commits oneself, then providence moves too. All sorts of things occur to help one that would never otherwise have occurred. A whole stream of events issues from the decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings and material assistance which no man could have dreamed would have come his way. Whatever you can do or dream, you can begin it. boldness as genius, power, and magic in it. Begin it now. And Joseph Campbell, who talks about the hero's journey, talks about that when you commit to that thing, he said, doors open where they didn't exist previously. And I've experienced that so many times in my life where I've just wished, I've sat in my room and wished for something to happen. I've wished, like, using the law of attraction and The Secret, and nothing's happened. And where conversely, when I've just gone for it and I've just been in the process of doing it, sometimes the thing that I was so passionate about and moving towards wasn't the thing that ultimately I was meant to be doing around that. I was doing something in that area, and then another door opened that opened up to something even grander. And that's where I often refer to is the magic often happens when we're in the process of just doing and moving towards our goal. And then some really interesting, funky things can show up. Okay, so mistake number 3. I've got waiting for it to be perfect, and the magic shows up. I just duplicated that. So I'm just going to take a little pause here for a second to just reiterate that I really believe you're here to do something amazing. I really think it's within all of us. It's not just one person, that's kind of standing out in the crowd. I have a student, one of my return to food coaches was on Facebook, and she was following someone, and she was very upset when she came to one of our coaching calls. And she just said, why is someone going to follow me? And she was following someone who has, a New York Times bestseller and a great following. And she didn't mention their name, but she said, why is someone going to follow me when there's this other person out there who's doing it? And it's interesting because I said, intuitively, I said, well, there are people like J.J. Virgin. And that's exactly who she was thinking about, even though she didn't mention it. And although she's on the New York Times bestseller list, there are people that she's not going to reach. Now, this food coach, Megan, is in Northern Ontario, and she's able to do hands-on classes with people that J.J. Virgin's never going to be able to do hands-on classes with. And so your thing that's amazing, you might be a New York Times bestseller, and you might be in a rural community doing cooking classes with people who really need what it is that you have to share with them. None of them are any less amazing than the other. And what you need to figure out is what I mentioned before, what it is that you really want to do and the lifestyle you want to live it, because here's a recipe for unhappiness is spending a lot of effort climbing and building a ladder that's up against the wrong wall. And many of you have seen that motivational quote, make sure that the ladder you're building is against the right wall, because I've seen it happen. People want a television show, but it doesn't make them happy. It doesn't fit with their lifestyle. It doesn't fit with their value system of promoting certain products. People want a bestseller, but they may not necessarily want to leave their family to go traveling around the country, or they like the idea of it, but the reality happens and it's not so good. So your amazing is no different than anyone else's amazing, in the sense that there's no such thing as one that's better than the other. It's your amazingness, and it gets to be your life, and you get to serve the world in the way that your heart is calling to you most. I know for many years I thought, I just want to do corporate classes and that would make me happy. And when I started to really examine my heart around it, I was choosing corporate because it was really good money that they would pay in thousands of dollars, and I didn't have to collect class tuitions one by one. But when I got the work, I just felt empty, and I didn't feel passionate about it, even though I was teaching the same materials that I'm teaching. It was different, and I also moderated it for that corporate environment, so I didn't really feel like I could be totally me and teach the things that I wanted to teach. And what I'm here to tell you is that when you get really clear about your niche, who it is you're meant to be served, to serve, your life story, and how it is that you want to live and how you want to serve in the world, you get lit on fire, and it feels amazing. And you are here to do something, I believe, that's truly amazing. And your pictures are gonna look different to mine, but they're going to mean something to you. So one of the things that often happens with people, strong people, weak people, everyone falls sometimes. But the difference between those who have success are the ones that get up again. And sometimes you don't feel strong when you're getting up again. Sometimes you feel weak and your legs feel shaky and you don't know where the resources of energy or sometimes money or support is going to come from. But when you just keep getting up, that's where you're able to look at your mistakes, to fix them, right? Doesn't mean that you're not going to make mistakes. You know, strong people fail, but they try again. That's a quote by Sonia Parker. And the trick to how to get up again and again is when you fall 7 times, you know the answer, you get up 8 times. And that's exactly what it is. And you just have to know that you are in the end going to be stronger for whatever mistakes you've made. You're going to be smarter for whatever mistakes you made, as long as you're awake. And here's the trick. Rather than spending time saying, I'm such an idiot, or I shouldn't have done that, I should have known better, the less time you spend doing that, and the more time you're going, okay, what am I meant to learn from this? What is it? What's the lesson in this? What you'll find is often life presents, when you ask for something special in the world, when you ask to do something amazing, life will throw you some challenges to condition you to be strong enough to actually embrace that thing that you want to do. That's a really important thing, is that you get thrown challenges sometimes when you've asked for a special calling in life to follow your hero's journey. Those challenges are actually there to condition you, to teach you what it is you need to learn in order to fulfill that vision and dream and journey that you choose for yourself. Joseph Campbell says, we must be willing to let go of the life we planned so as to have the life that is waiting for us. So in order to get where it is that you want to go, you can't be the same person that you are today. It's going to require more of you. And in order to do that, you're going to have to grow. Now, I used to ask for really challenging lessons. I got tired of that quickly. I remember one New Year's Eve, I was making a resolution that I want to be challenged mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and physically. That was one of the worst years of my life. And I remember the following year going, I'd like my lessons to be a little bit more gentle. So it doesn't mean that it has to be hard slog, and it doesn't have to be traumatic, although you're going to face things in life that are difficult. Just knowing that it's just part of learning, that whatever life throws at you, there's a special lesson in it that you can choose to embrace and use it as a way of muscle, flexing your muscle, conditioning, lifting those weights, doing that run to actually get that strength, the oxygen within your body, the life force to take you to be able to do the thing that you're meant to be doing. I love this quote, and I don't know who to attribute it to, but it says, raise your standards and the universe will meet you there. Now, you can't see it right now, but that's a picture of my backyard. And that's the picture that I look out. Well, it's actually a window pane. And it's as you come up the stairs from my entrance and then into my kitchen. So that's what I look at each day when I'm preparing food. And it's also the Return to Food kitchen where we film in. And I want you to know that I didn't always live in such a nice place, and I didn't always have the resources that I have today, but I always had the vision that I would have a beautiful kitchen to work in, I would have a beautiful view to look out on, and that I would have a peacefulness within my home that made me feel nurtured and nourished. And that started because I actually had a vision and I raised my standards of what it was that I had. And remember when I started out and I said, the biggest mistake you'll make is thinking that I'm more special than you. Well, I grew up in what I refer to as mental, emotional, spiritual, and physical poverty. We didn't have resources. I didn't have resources to learn how to ski when I was a kid. We couldn't afford that. Growing up in Alberta where everyone's going skiing, I never had, summer holidays. We never flew anywhere for holidays or anything like that. And it was just it wasn't even when we went camping, it was like poor people camping. It wasn't even, challenged by the woods and everything like that. It was, we were opening up packet food and it was not cool. I didn't have money to go to college, when I finished high school, I went to work. And when I, left my marriage and I divorced, I didn't have a big, kind of marital payout that enabled me to just live a life of luxury. And so it wasn't easy to make this choice to learn how to make a living doing this work without the resources. But I promise you, when you get really clear about what you do and you're willing to work for it, resources will show up. Rent gets paid, things happen. And I can honestly say I spent a lot of years doing it the wrong way. And I know how painful that can be. And I don't want that for people, because what I believe is that you're the kind of person who's drawn to this work because you want to make the world a better place. And I want you to be wealthy, because I know that if you become wealthy, you're the kind of person that's going to make the world a better place. And I don't want you to have to go through what I went through for over 10 years of not knowing where that consistent income was coming from. I want us all to be fabulously, independently abundant here so that we can continue to do the work we're doing. Because if you can't afford to continue to do it, you're going to end up doing something else. And the world needs you to be doing this work, right? We really need all of us to be doing well so we can continue to do this work, because the world we're living in, as you know, I don't need to tell you, it's in a really tricky place. And I remember one time where I didn't know where my rent was coming from. I honestly was like, man, I've been working so hard. And here's the interesting thing. My keynote speaking fee was $5,000, $3,500 to $5,000 then. And we're going, this is over 10 years ago. And yet I wasn't getting consistent enough work to make things work. And I was struggling. And I remember one day I got a phone call from an ad agency, because at this time I was on television. I was well known. I was on the speaking circuit. So there's an expectation that I'm, doing well financially. And an ad agency called me up and asked me if I was interested in doing a commercial that would pay for 2 days' work $120,000. And I remember just sighing this big sigh of relief, thinking, oh, thank goodness. Finally, right? Finally, I don't have to struggle. I can live 2 years on that. And then I asked the question, what's the product for? And my intuition knew before I asked. She told me it was for a calcium fortified milk that was targeted towards children. And my heart sank, and I knew I couldn't do it. And I just went through the motions. I said, has it got refined sugar in it? Yes. Has it got colors and flavorings in it? Yes. But it's fortified with calcium. And I said, I can't do it. And I thanked her very much. And I said, if you ever have like an organic single ingredient product that you want someone to endorse, I'm your girl. And I just remember getting off the phone and crying out of complete frustration, because I was so committed to what I was doing, but so frustrated I didn't know how to make it work. And I really wanted to make it work, not just because I knew that it was what I was meant to be doing, but I knew that if I got it right, I could help a lot of people. I was helping people then, but I wasn't reaching enough people, and I wasn't doing it well enough. And so I did actually, over the next few years, figure it out. I figured out how I could actually make money doing things. And I want to tell you something too that I don't often admit to people. I had another little fantasy, because I'd worked so hard as a chef and in jobs, when I graduated from school. I had this fantasy that I didn't want to work hard. And that's a fantasy that will keep you broke. Now, I'm not suggesting that not working hard, that you have to build railways or, be whipped or, chained to a desk or, that kind of hard. But the kind of hard work where you actually make change and make a difference in lives usually means that you're going to put in hours. Every single person that I admire who's doing something that's really making a difference in the world, they put in a lot of hours of work. And the interesting thing that happened for me is when I really got on purpose, and when I got really clear about what I wanted to do and who I wanted to serve and how I wanted to serve them, it never felt lonely. the work never felt lonely. It felt fulfilling. And the work that I was doing, setting up cooking schools and, running classes, having a class with 400 people going through it, it never felt like hard work because I was on purpose. And I really want for you to become your own hero, to find your version of that. And this is one of the illustrations from the book, Return to Food, Holistic Hero's Journey. And it says, become your own hero. Do the thing you fear you cannot do, but feel you were born to do. The thing you most admire in others, but in your own unique, amazing, and loving way. So when I talk about becoming your own hero, I'm really clear that this is not about helping you become a mini me or Sherry Strong. Because I have my own dreams and I have my own journey. And I have things that I'm still working on. After 23 years in the business, if you follow me on Facebook, go to facebook.com/food philosopher. I finally got the cover of a magazine. Now it's a local magazine in Vancouver, but it's my first magazine cover, and that's pretty cool. And that's just one of many things that I have. Now, the interesting thing is that actually happening is a cool thing, but it's not the coolest things that are actually happening for me. Just interacting with people, being able to help people and change people's lives, that's the coolest thing for me right now. And that whole thing around, the kind of the media things, the television, the radio interviews and things like that. They're cool, but they're not as cool as when you're really in your groove and you're helping lots of people. So here are some things that you need to do to become financially secure in this business. And the first thing that I highly recommend is to have multiple streams of income. So no matter what it is that you dream of doing with people, find multiple ways of making income from it. So if you want to do classes with people or become a private chef, you need to look at different ways that you can make money from what you're doing. So have an online income stream, have a product, and a service. So at the very least, start with 3. So have 3 or more sources of income. So say you want to do classes, you want to be selling product at your classes. Find things that you're passionate about and either resell them for other people, like, kitchen equipment or, products that you absolutely love, or white label them. So get them under your own brand and your own label. So you've got service, you've got products that you're selling, and some kind of information product. And I love information products. So one of the things that was really exciting for me is I was on holiday. I was in a seminar, conference. I don't know about you guys, but I love going to conferences. I love learning. And I was in a conference and I had all these little pings coming through my phone. I got to show my friend Lorraine, see, I just made another bit of money. Oh, someone's just signed up for a course. Oh, there's $300. Oh, there's $40, all that kind of thing. That's a lovely thing to have money coming in when you're not physically having to work for it or exchange it. And all of those things are valuable because when one is a bit slower, you have the other to rely on. And then you're not just going to be, if classes dry up, you're not just going to be dependent on that income coming in. And things in business, whether it's products, information products, or services, they ebb and flow. It's very rare that you got all of them going gangbusters all at once. So you want to be mindful about taking care of each one of those things. And you don't have to start them all at once. That's another thing. People freak out like, oh my God, I'm just starting classes. How do I do that? Start with one, get it up and going, and then, build the others. It's kind of like learning to juggle. Don't start with 6 balls. Start with, when you're juggling, just start even with 1 ball and practice with that. Then add in 2 and then add in 3. So don't do all of them at once, but have as a goal 3 different sources of income coming in some form or another. And I really strongly suggest it's services, a product or service, product, and information product. There we go. Okay, number 2, this is the skill that I attribute to the most amazing things happening in my life. Some of the most exciting, interesting experiences of my life have come into my life because of the ability to speak confidently and to be able to articulate my message. Now, what you're hearing me talk about tonight is another area of expertise it's kind of like my second phase of expertise. So the first phase was the cooking, nutrition side of things. Then it was the teaching and coaching. That was actually the second phase. And the third phase for me is now teaching other people how to do it. But my ability to speak confidently and to be able to communicate what it is that I'm doing in each of those phases has opened up doors. That's where the magic happens. So whether you're confident now or not, you want to get awesome at it. And when I first started speaking, I was not great at it. People will often say to me now, particularly when I'm doing my food philosophy things and, I'm speaking at conferences and I'm talking about return to food, which I've spent 20 years developing the ways of articulating messages. People are like, man, you're a natural speaker. And I just laugh when I hear that, because the first speech I ever gave was 3 minutes long. And I giggled nervously for 1 minute and 40 seconds of that speech. And when I was first doing cooking classes and good food shows in Australia, my husband at the time said he couldn't come and watch me. He finally admitted he couldn't come watch me because I was so bad he would be embarrassed by me. Now, you might understand why we're not together right now. But the truth is when I started out, I wasn't good. I wasn't great at it. But you have to keep doing things in order to get good and then to get great. And the biggest, tip for actually getting good at speaking, is to get out there and speak. So you need to get out there regularly, every opportunity, and embrace every opportunity or create opportunities. You can, if you aren't getting people paying to come to your classes, do free introductory evenings, but put a value on it. Don't say it's a free evening. Tell them, put a value on it. It's $25 and they can come for free, if they just give you your email address, or what you can do is sell a product. Like what I'll often do is get my food coaches to sell a zoodle maker, which is a grater, this grater that you may have received by now if you've purchased to come to this webinar. And it makes the best zucchini noodles. And what they'll do is, just to get people into like a free class, they pay $20 and they get the class for free. But at least they're getting some kind of income coming in, and they're getting the ability to grab their details. So get their email address and their name. They get a class, they get a taste of what they're doing, and they've got some income and rapport coming in, and they're teaching their customers how to buy from them. So you're not just giving stuff away for free, but you're giving them value and you're showing them, you're not just telling them. And that's a big piece that I think where the money piece is not just telling people what to do, but showing them how to do it in your work. That's where I think the gold is, and it'll be where the most rewarding things happen for you. So here's a third thing that you absolutely need to do in this area. One of the things I know when I first started out, people were saying, well, who do you want to help? And I remember that was the hardest question for me to answer. And I was like, well, I want to help everyone. This information is good for everyone. And I would see more seasoned marketers and people just kind of roll their eyes and look at me and essentially say, well, that's a good recipe for being broke. And I have to say, in hindsight now, knowing what I know about business and how things work in the world, particularly around this piece, if you don't find a niche, if you don't find a specific group or way or thing that you want to help people with, it will be a very hard way to create a living. Unless, of course, you happen to get instant overnight celebrity, then you may be able to do it. But even then, it's still tricky. So just for those of you who may not know what I mean by niche, the smaller and more specific you go, you don't want to go too specific. But like earlier, I'm just going to look in the chat roll here. Who was it? Dawn wants to work. She wants to eradicate cancer through healthy living. So what I would recommend to you, Dawn, is rather than just going for cancer right now, we have the ability to niche within the cancers. So rather than just say all cancers, to find one specific cancer that you are drawn to working with, that you actually find that what you're doing would be the most, rewarding, you just are more drawn to that. Because when people go in and do Google searches, if they come up and they just put, I want help, healing cancer, literally tens of thousands of pages will come up. But if you have a niche, you want to help, men with prostate cancer, you're going to have a lot less searches come up, and it'll be easier for people to find you and the resources you're going to create to help people doing that. Now, what I would say is too niche would be women with prostate cancer. That would be way too niche. That's a very, very small group. Okay, anyway, that's my version of a joke. Sorry about that. So niche. Really drill down and try and find the tribe that you're attracted to. So just this group of coaches, and we have Roz and Pat. This is after the retreat on Bowen Island last year as part of the Return to Food Academy. Roz and Pat want to work with families and children. Chancey, who's in the blue with the blonde hair, she wants to work with women with body image issues. Gina, who's in the blue with brunette hair, wants to work with Aboriginal women. And Ashley wants to work with brides. So everyone has their own kind of area of niche that they found, and it will help them in the process of marketing and getting what it is that they want out to the world a lot more effectively. And it will just, I promise you, make your life easier. And I really do believe that we're all called to serve in our own ways. And you will have a tribe when you start to think about it that you're meant to serve. Okay, sorry, I was just having a little problem with my cursor then. I was cursing at my cursor on the inside. Number 4, this is a tricky one, okay? Oh, this one I learned hard. My mom used to sell vacuums, and you know what? I was embarrassed by selling. I had this association that selling was something that was embarrassing, and I felt terrible selling. I felt icky when I was doing it, and as a result, I sucked at it. And then I found something that I absolutely love to sell. And it came in the form of this little zoodle maker. And when I found the zoodle maker, it was just something that I used. There's an amazing story that kind of goes along with it. But it was something that I absolutely loved, and I had no problem selling it. And I would sell, in classes. I'd sell 20 and 30 and 40 at a time. And I felt good at it. And the trick to learning to love selling is to start to sell from the heart, to really understand that when you have something that truly makes people's lives better, and you're actually selling it from the place, from your heart, that you want to make people's lives better, and you know the value they're going to get out of it, and you tap into that, it changes the way you're selling. And so many of us have problems selling our services in particular because we think we're selling ourselves, or we think that we're trying to push our will onto other people. And here's the thing about when you get speaking and you get out there and you're making a difference in the world, you start to actually see the value that you're making in the world. And then you're just going to get to a point where you can't sustain it unless you charge, right? Unless you charge healthily for what it is you're doing. And you build and create things in such a way that people get such good value from it that you think, well, they couldn't help but not want this, right? So that's the other piece, is you really need to be able to sell. So sell from your soul, not from your pockets, but sell from the place of actually finding things that you love so much that you just want people to have this. It does take time. It takes practice. It just takes getting used to it, and also getting feedback from people so you actually understand how what it is that you're doing is changing their lives. So sorry, I just got a message coming up, and I'm trying to fix it. Sorry, I apologize if that noise has come up for you guys. Anyway, help people find solutions. So that's when you get magic in it, is when you're actually doing things that people are going to find solutions because of what you're doing. And when it comes to selling yourself, really knowing your value, understanding and appreciating the value that you have in the world will help you sell better. And here's another piece. This is kind of like a bonus piece. This is the piece that changed my life. When I started to get busy, when I just started getting and doing stuff. And I'm not saying do crazy things that aren't related to what it is you're meant to be doing in the world, but continually try and find opportunities to connect with people. So speaking engagements, get on your local radio, find ways to actually get out there, go and speak at your local colleges and schools. And when you start to do that, not only does your name get out there, but you start to get good at what you're doing. And when you get good at what you're doing, people will ask you to come and speak. and you just need to hustle your bustle, and things will start to happen. So what I'd like you to do right now is to think, maybe you're not finished your schooling right now, but imagine if you were, or maybe your business isn't going exactly where you want it to be right now, where maybe it's not right there where you want it to be right now. But just try and think of 3 things that you could do, that you can actually see yourself doing, that if you consistently woke up each day and you focused on them and you did them regularly, just 3 things a day, just write those 3 things down that you know would actually take you to the next level. And if you've read a book by Greg Keller, The One Thing, circle the one thing that would be the most important. And then number 2, the thing that would be the second most important, that would actually get you to your goal. What is it you can be doing right now that's going to help you get to your goal? Okay. And while you're thinking about that, I'm just going to read what Deanne says. She wants to help people with gluten issues and food sensitivities and gut issues. That's a niche, and it's a big niche that there's only going to be more opportunity as we process our food and have GMOs in our diet. That area is only going to get bigger, and that's definitely a niche that will be full of people to help serve, and full of people that will need your help. And never worry that you're going to be competition to someone else or someone's going to be competition to you. As you know, as a nutritionist, when someone has a disorder of any kind, they don't just buy one book on it. They don't just get one opinion on it if they're smart. They get several books and they get several opinions. And you can make a business being one of those people. Okay. I'm going to get to that question, Sylvia. If I don't get to it at the end, please remind me of it. It's a great question. What are some examples of information products and how do you sell them? So I'll definitely get to that at the end. And if I haven't, please remind me, because it's a great one. Okay, so 3 things that you can do to take action. What are some things that you can actually be doing to take action? So it's about finding those things, right? That if you just took action on, and then take action on them. I know it sounds incredibly simple, but remember when you had your own health journey and when you're sitting in that place of not knowing what to do, not doing anything, even if you're trying some wrong things, you were in the process of learning at least what not to do. It's much better than just sitting there suffering, not taking action. Okay, this is another little important piece that I think is significant. What would you like to leave as your legacy? Now, one of the things when I lived in Australia I loved about the Aboriginal culture is their version of success on the planet was leaving no trace of them being on the planet. So they left no footprint. We live in a culture where the bigger the building you have with your name on it, and the kind of the Trumpification of the world is about leaving the biggest, largest footprint, having the most amount of success. When I'm talking about legacy, I'm not talking about that kind of success, that definition of success. The version of legacy is the imprint that you want to have, even if no one ever remembered your name. What is the legacy, the footprint that you want to leave on the planet? So even if you got no credit for it, but just for you having been here in this world, this actually changed. What would that be? And it may sound like a random kind of question, but it really is not random. There's a great deal of power in knowing the answer to this question. And you may not have the answer now. You may want to put it in the chat if you feel comfortable. So my legacy is I want to have 10,000 food coaches around the world who are making at least $70,000 a year, helping people return to eating real food and helping their local environment clean up the waterways and making sure that there's food security for everyone. And this, people are not only just learning about food, but their food is available. That's the legacy that I want to have. And you know what? I don't even care if my name gets associated with that. all I care is, is that I have that kind of impact. Because I know if I have 10,000 food coaches out there, we're going to have millions of people impacted by that. So what's your legacy? And what is it that you just want to have happen, that even if you never were attributed with the credit for it, what is it that you'd like to do? Because it will make a difference when you can have that as your goal along the process of creating a dream life and a business that you want. Okay, it's Stephen Covey, 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. Begin with the end in mind. Begin with your end in mind. Rather than just thinking, what are you going to do when I graduate, or what am I going to do for business? But what's the end result of that business? What's the impact that it has in the world? Okay, now I want to talk to you about money right now. I want to get really clear about the fact that it's really good to make money. I want you to feel good about that. And even if you have your own kind of issues or resistance or blocks around it, for the next few minutes, I want you to embrace the fact that making money could be a good and wonderful thing for you, that it can sustain you to do the work that you're meant to be doing in the world. I think that's really important. And to be able to do it in a way that allows you to live holistically. Okay, so this is my kind of basic plan for making $70K a year, $70,000 a year. So I would, if I was to start out my business and do this again from scratch, this is what I would do. Okay, I would be out there hustling to get 20 people a month into my introductory class. I would charge them $25. I would sell something in that class. I would either sell a zoodle maker to get them in, or some food products that are aligned with that class. So if you have, say you're doing a gluten-free gluten sensitivity class, you could actually be making your own gluten-free products or base products, or selling things that help people eat gluten-free as part of that. So you could make $25 if you're doing that and you're getting good at it. And it's only by doing it you will get good at it. And then to create an information product. So Sylvia, this is a good time to answer your question. So some examples of information products and how do you sell them? Examples are ebooks, special reports. You can sell a video series. You can sell e-courses. And there's lots of ways that you can sell them. You can start to sell them on platforms that are free, like Udemy. There's lots of different courses that you can go on and find them, or you can invest in a platform yourself. I've spent tens of thousands of dollars on a platform with designers to put my courses up on, but for less than that, you can actually try something like Kajabi to put your courses up. So say you had a course, e-course that you put up, and it was $60. I have one that's a Return to Food 7-day challenge, and it's over 7 days. They get a series of videos, audios, PDFs, that help them get off of what I call the lethal recipe and return to eating real food. And it works on the mental, emotional, and spiritual part of nourishment as well, not just the physical. So for my food coaches, if they sell 10 a month, they get a $60 commission. They get $600. If they sell 20, they get $1,200. Now you can create your own. And then if you make a $97 product, you get all $97, but you could start by making an information product that's $60. And it's just basically about taking what you know, creating videos, and I'm going to tell you how that I actually teach people how to do this at the end of this call. But you could also do a coaching program. So imagine just once a month you had an online coaching program. So you put up your videos and you get a group of people to do, say 1 month, they get 4 sessions online, and then they get in a month, they get 4 sessions online, so 1 a week. And so they watch the online materials, and then they also get a live session with you, a group call and a Google Hangout. Now, the great thing about information products with this work is that with the practitioner model, it's kind of broken because most practitioners struggle to get clients. That's 90%, kind of the majority, 80-20 Pareto's principle. 80 to 90% of people struggle to get clients. And so it's often they're not getting as effective, because in order to get really good at coaching, you need to be doing it often. Or the other 20% are so successful at getting clients that they can't take time off without losing money. So the great thing about online products is that it allows you to mix both and also take chunks of time off. And also what you're teaching online is stuff that's highly repetitive, that you'd be saying the same thing over and over again in a session. And here's a little piece of information that I think I wish someone had told me how powerful this was 15, 20 years ago. It is way more effective for you and your clients to do group coaching. The whole one-on-one thing, I don't believe is anywhere near as powerful, or people get the same level of success as when they're actually coached in a group. So that's just my own kind of experience of being in this business for a long time. So this is the sample. I'm going to show you how to make $70K a year. So if I was to do it over again, I would start some kind of course that went for a longer period of time, and I'd charge $1,000 for it. And I'd try and get one person or two people in a month, right? Then I would also have my product sales. So, and this happens naturally because, you know, when I first started, I had olive oil and salts, and now I have the zoodle maker, and I've got the book, and, you know, and I'm working with companies now who are wanting me to work with other products. But when I first started out, you can just easily get things in bulk, find your own packaging, create your own labels. All of this stuff can be done online as far as, you know, getting really good quality packaging, you know, and design work, even with Canva for free online. Canva is the way. And then you can, with platforms like Udemy or Kajabi or, you know, basic websites now, super easy to start selling things online. It's so easy. Even with PayPal, even with Facebook, you don't even have to have a website to be selling these products. It's amazing how simple it is. Nowadays, way harder than when I started. even getting credit card facilities when I started was, you had to jump through hoops and platforms and have machines and all this kind of stuff. Now you can do it with your phone. It's incredible. What I would also do is I would have a retreat once a year, and I would work at getting at least one person into my retreat a month. So you have it at the end of the year, but each year I'm working and talking about my retreat at the end of the year so that you get at least one person coming in. And I would actively be working for speaking engagements. Now, there's lots of ways to get speaking engagements, and what a bigger trend is happening now. When I first started speaking, you had to get with a bureau, which was really hard because you only got with a bureau when you got good enough that you didn't need to have a bureau represent you, and they took a big chunk of the money. And then you would get lots of money, but it would be hard to get that work consistently. Now, the great thing is you can go out and you can have speaking engagements where you then speak. And if you're speaking for free, they usually give you a space of time where you can promote what it is that you're doing. And through doing that, it's quite easily done when you start to develop, you know, all of these things that I'm talking about to make $1,000 in product sales or coaching work per speaking engagement. And then what I would also do, which I think is the most important thing in this work, is to get people touching, tasting, feeling with food, you know, and cooking classes and workshops are the best way to do this. So you can have farmers market tours, or you can do them in your home, you can do them in other people's home. But if you just got once a week, you had a course with 10 people and you charge them $70 each. And so you can be throwing in a bit of product sales, you can be throwing in your online course. There's lots of ways that you can easily get people to think that $70 is an amazing value. Most cooking schools that are out there are charging anywhere from $95 to $150 for classes. Now, this is what it looks like when you're doing these things over the period of the year. Now, you'll notice with all of these figures, I've based it on 11 months work. Why do I base it on 11 months work? Because I want you to have a holiday. I want you to have at least 1 month off a year. But if you do the things that I've suggested, you can be easily making $86,000. And with what I've suggested, the way I'm suggesting you do it, it means that $16,000 is your expenses part to actually create that $70,000 worth of income. Now, here's the thing. When you start to do these things, and you can watch the replay if you like, and you can see the numbers and how it actually works. But once you start to get in the groove of doing these things, that's where that box where the magic shows up, and things that you never realized, you know, you could be doing, you could do. Now think about it. Now, I know some of you might be looking, Sherry, this is so overwhelming that you're asking me to do way too much. Now, what I'm asking you to do is to start with the intro classes. And when you get good at the intro classes, introduce some cooking classes. You don't have to do all of this at once. I never did all of this at once. But if you have a plan of how you can actually start to introduce these things, and once you get comfortable starting to deliver something, you can then work on something else, right? You actually can do this, and you can take a month off by doing it, right? And say all you wanted to do was cooking classes. Well, look, down here in that section in the bottom left-hand corner, that's just once a week with 10 people at $70 a person. And that's over 11 months, not 12 months. That's $30,000. Say you did 2 a week, right? Say you did 3 a week. These are how the numbers happen. And if you're worried about people coming, there's online versions and ways you can do this. You know, there's so many ways you can do it. And as you get good and as you start to attract people, people will come out of the woodwork in your community. And then you get so good in your community, people will ask you to come to a neighboring community, and so on and so on. There's no shortage of work for us in this world. Okay? There's lots of ways that we can actually do this. So that's just a sample of how you can make $70K a year. It's absolutely possible to do this. And say if you just want to do retreats, you can do it this way. Just think, how many people do you need to get in a year? You could be running 2 or 3 retreats a year and just be getting in 25 people each time, right? And you can actually make that. So it doesn't have to be all of these things. It could be 1, 2, or 3 of them. It could be a few of them. And for me, all of these things, if you'd said to me right at the beginning, I have to do all of these things at once, it would have overwhelmed me and I wouldn't have done anything. But if you just start with one, it's entirely possible. And then once you do it, you get excited and you start to think to yourself, what else can I do? I'm ready for another challenge. And you just start to add and layer on it. You don't have to do it all at once. So these are, speaking of information products, Sylvia, this is the 7-day challenge that I have. And in the 7-day challenge, I sell it for $97. I have recipes, strategies, philosophies, detox and cleanse. I offer a Google Hangout that I've recorded that people can actually watch the recording with people asking questions. I've got a PDF with some botanical strategies in it. Each day I do a little custom meditation. And there's a Facebook group for the 7-day challenge where people can join. And then for my coaches, I will suggest that they can have private coaching available so then they can sell their product for, you know, say a session before and after for $250. And that includes the 7-day challenge. And this is just some of the materials that I use to promote it. And I do a lot of the promotion online and in Facebook groups. Then I also have the Return to Food coaching program. That's an 8-week online program that I offer. And this is the platform and what it looks like, in case any of you are wondering. This is the dashboard for the Return to Food coaching program and the Return to Food Academy. They can log into either one of those. They get a module that they log into, and then it has videos, MP3s, and PDFs. And then there's the Return to Food Academy, and that's a 10-month online course where you become a Return to Food coach. You're credited after 5 months. There's a 7-day retreat. That's part of that, where you're in the kitchen learning to cook. And we do meditation in the meditation sanctuary and walks in nature and payaking, which is kayaking with organic pie. And the whole thing about the Return to Food Academy is to teach people to speak powerfully and professionally, and to create a thriving holistic business around that, and where they can turn their passion into income. And I know you're all in that place where you will be doing that too. So just to give you an example, these are the different ways that I actually make money. So I've got a coaching program, I've got a Return to Food Live, I've got the 10-month online program, there's the Google Hangout, that's part of the Academy, there's the dedicated Facebook page, the 7-day retreat, and then I give bonuses when I'm doing this. So there's a cooking school blueprint, how to create a list of information products that sell, how to create packages that give you freedom, discovering your niche and leveraging your business, and private coaching sessions. And then I also offer my clients to be able to sell my products at at least a 50% commission. So these are just to give you an idea of some of the things that if you just stick with it, you can actually be doing these things. I promise you, if I have done this, you can do it. And this was just some pictures of the retreat. on Bowen Island, and when they come into the Return to Food kitchen to film their videos, marketing videos. And just to give you a bit of background of some of the people that I've worked with and how the work's actually impacted them. Gina Sauer is a Return to Food coach in Calgary, and she said the Bowen retreat was the most groundbreaking journey of self-discovery for me, and that her self-confidence increased tremendously throughout and after the retreat. She said, any fears and doubts I had still lingering as to whether this is what I want to be doing disappeared as I learned more in class and in the kitchen. It was by far the greatest hands-on, experiential, and thoroughly nourishing learning experience. She said, this was the best week of my entire life. I came away a new person, and I feel so blessed to have you in my life and this opportunity to work with you and share what I'm learning from others. So she goes on, and you can watch if you want in the replay. You can see more about what she's actually saying. The people that I'm working with, they have beautiful dreams. Like I mentioned before, Gina wants to work with Aboriginal women to get rid of the lethal recipe from their kitchens and start to just basically eat real food. And Chloe Elger is the blogger that I spoke about. And she's grown and transformed since originally working with her. And she's just gotten an amazing business. She's now being approached. She's written her first book. It's being launched soon. She's being invited to Costa Rica to speak. She's done consulting and spoken conferences in Dubai. Now she's moving back to Seattle, and she's being approached by companies that want her to develop products with them. So that's pretty cool. Ashley Joyce is a registered holistic nutritionist in Philadelphia, and she's the one who I mentioned that she's working with brides to help brides have, build up their health before their weddings so that it can actually feel confident and happy on their wedding day and feeling good about themselves. And she basically loves the Return to Food programs because it really helps people find their path in a non-judgmental and loving way. There's Gina again, talking about Return to Food. This is the first class she took, the 8-week program. Roz McMahon from Australia has basically said that her world is being transformed from working together and doing this work. And the philosophies that I teach people to teach helps them take literally thousands of bits of information and years of study and work into sound bites that help people articulate their message succinctly so that people get it and understand it, and it just makes so much sense. Rochelle Girardin is a local student here in Vancouver who's also doing retreats. She recently, in one day, sold $12,000 worth of retreats people in 1 week, and she has a catering business as well, and she teaches at the local college here at the Institute of Holistic Nutrition in Vancouver. And yeah, just a really special person. But I want to reiterate, no more special than you or myself. She's just a person who is willing to do the work, and she's creating some amazing things as a result. Chancey Dawn is a Return to Food coach who's starting her own business now, and basically she sends me messages, regularly about this work and how it impacts and what she's doing. She sent me a beautiful Mother's Day message. Even though I don't have children, she says that I'm a mother to many, helping them to fulfill their dreams, and that's really special. Karen Porter in Toronto, again, you can read these testimonials if you want to go further. I'll put them up on the website. They're in the webinar replay. If you have any doubts, you can actually Google these people. But essentially, what I'm here is to help people to become part of a community and to stay on the path. I want you to be able to get good at what you're doing, to be confident in business so that you can actually develop products like I'm talking about here. This is from the Return to Food Academy. This is what it looks like. I want you to have your own business where you have passive income as well as working actively in your community, so you're actually in touch with people and making a difference, so that you can have a space that you live in that inspires you. This is my kitchen, my bedroom, my backyard. And this is a place where when I'm here and I'm working, I feel good about serving the world, and I feel good about bringing people into my space. But I want you to know it wasn't always like this, and you don't have to have a beautiful kitchen to get started. You can work in a church, group, community group. There's kitchens all over the place. I have one student who's actually done classes on the beach, so you don't need to have a great kitchen to start, and I certainly didn't. But I want you to know that if you dream it and you work towards it, it's absolutely entirely possible. These are some of the people that have come through the Return to Food classes over the years, teaching and presenting. I want you to know that we all have a story that others can be inspired by. And when you learn how to tell it, when you learn how to communicate it, you tap into it and tell that story with your bigger vision in life, it will help you to create something really special in the world. So I'm just going to flip through some of the products that information products that I've had available over the years. And don't worry, this is not for you to buy tonight, but just to show you that I have lots of products. They're physical products, they're information products. I have a full day course, a live seminar, an online program that's $4.97. It's a one-day thing. And so there's lots of ways to actually work with me, but none of this is for sale tonight. But I did want to offer you something special because I want you to know that you can have your own success story and testimonial that will not only help you, but help lots of other people. And so tonight I'm actually offering something really special that I've created for this presentation and the presentation that I did last week in San Francisco. And I thought, what can I actually do and create that's going to help people get further, farther, and faster? And so I'm creating something called the Food Coaching Blueprint. It's a Return to Food Coaching Blueprint. And in the first module, I'm actually going to help you find your niche and how to reach those people. And in the second module, I'm actually giving you something that's called the Cooking School Blueprint. Now this sells on its own for $397, I think. It's either $347, $397. And that alone, within the first month of actually implementing it, you can make easily over $600, $700. And it's everything that I've learned in 20 years about doing cooking classes, from how to actually figure out what it is you're going to teach, how you're going to teach it, the venue, ingredients, equipment, how to run it, everything that I've learned, and I put it into that module. Module 3 is how to sell without being salesy. So how to actually get into that process of actually selling to people where you feel good about it. You know that what it is you're offering is something that's going to help them get from where they are to where they want to go in a much more efficient way. Module 4 is about the holistic marketing blueprint. So how do you actually market what it is that you're creating in the world? How do you get it out to the world and without having tons of money to actually do it? Very bootstrapping, very simple ways that you can start to get your message out there, so you're not spending a lot of money on PR and marketing, which in my experience is it's very hard to get a return unless you have big dollars behind you. So there's, bootstrap, very simple ways of doing it that can make a massive impact, which I'm going to show you. Module 5 is the authentic speaking blueprint. This is basically how do you get good at speaking and speak from a place that's strong and authentic, and people are just like, tell me more. Because what we often do, particularly when we're starting, is we're like a fire hydrant with water spewing at people, information just spewing at people, and people get overwhelmed, and they, instead of being drawn in, they run away. So how can we actually speak in a way that compels people to say, tell me more, I want to hear more, I could listen to you all day? And I'm going to throw in some bonuses, because that's what I do, that's how I roll. And bonus number 1 is I'm going to show you how I'm going to talk about packages and products, how you can actually create packages and products that keep you away from the practitioner model that just keeps you kind of busy or broke. And number 2, one of the big things that I find comes up for people is, how do I actually stay productive? How do I actually stay focused? And I'm going to show you how I went from someone who was chocolate caking it all the time to someone who actually got stuff happening. And in 4 short years, I've managed to create 4 online courses, a 7-day, 8-week, and 5-week, and a 10-month course online, as well as producing a book and branding the Zoodle Maker and working with companies. So how did I manage to do that without compromising my quality of life and still living holistically? I'm going to share that with you. And bonus number 3, I'm going to talk about building and monetizing your tribe. So how do you actually get out and speak and attract the people that it is you're meant to be serving? So this package is, one of my mentors that I work with says, try and create a package that's worth 10 times what you're selling it for. And I know this cooking school blueprint, if you just took that and you followed it, and each month you did a class, you could easily make $6,000 a year, $7,000 from just doing one class a month based on that information. And tonight, and only tonight, I'm going to throw in a special bonus. And essentially, as I make this program, the first module will be delivered in June. So as I make the program, I'm actually going to show you how I created this. So I'm giving you an inside look into how I create this program, so you can get an idea of all the pieces that you need to put together so you can create your own. And that is definitely worth to show you all the things that I've learned, all the mistakes that I made, and how I've actually streamlined it and made it simple to do is definitely worth $600 in itself. I would say it's worth way over than that. But tonight, for all of this, I'm offering it for a $297 one-time payment and $165 two-pay option. So if right now you've got class debt or school debt, what's that, education debt, or you've got expenses to pay and it's really, really tricky, you can do the two-pay option. There is a little bit more of a fee because I'm taking a risk and I'm not taking the money up front. But if it's a problem and a barrier, you have the two-pay option. But tonight for $297, you can actually get into this program, and all you have to do is to send a PayPal payment to sherry@returntofood.com. So that's kind of very simple there. So kind of the last thing, I'm just going to pop up. I'm going to pop up my offer. There we go. Display it. I want you to know that this offer will end in 6 hours. So it's basically designed to get you to take action, because it is those people who take action that really the big difference is made in their life. And it's by taking action that you become your own hero. It's by doing that thing that you're afraid to do, but you just cannot imagine not doing, in the sense of you can't imagine not fulfilling what it is you're meant to be doing in life and being in life. And so by taking action, you actually become your own hero. And in becoming your own hero, that's where you actually do the work that grows you to the level where you can help a lot of people in life, where it's not just about you anymore. So just before I reiterate the offer and take questions, I just want to say thank you and congratulations again. It is people who are actually still here on the call and showing up that where I know has the capacity to make a big, big difference in other people's lives. It's by taking action, showing up, and obviously doing the work that enables you to get that life that it is that you've always wanted. Okay, sorry, I'm having a little bit of problems with technology. So if you want to take up that offer, all you need to do is to contact me to apply, sherry@returntofood.com. So you can, if you want to register by tonight, I'm going to throw in that extra bonus. If you don't register tonight, you won't actually have access to that bonus. And if you have any questions, you can ask now. And please, by all means, if you have any questions around this, ask now. But just to let you know that Return to Food Coaching Blueprint tonight only is a $297 one-time payment. And you can just go straight to PayPal, or you can check out the offer here. There's actually an offer. You just need to click to register. Just register now. And I think I have a few more minutes that if anyone has any questions, I've got one from Tamara right here. I'm confused as to whether we get all the modules you listed at $697 plus the step-by-step insights on how to make the module for a total of $297, or is it $697 plus $297? Great question, Tamara. Thank you for letting me know. I wasn't completely clear on that. It is everything for $297, okay? So you get all the modules listed, the bonuses, and if you pay tonight, you get the extra bonus of showing you that it's the step-by-steps on how to make this module for $297. And it's really, really that simple. The thing is, I have a program that's worth probably 20 times what that is, and I know the barrier to entry for people to sign up for that. It's tricky, and it can be a bit scary. And so I wanted you to get a sense of what it's like to work with me. And this is a way of giving you a taste, not just giving you a taste of working with me, but also showing you how you can actually get started. Because it is by getting started that you're going to make a big difference in the world. So I'm just going to quickly go through what it is you're getting. So you're getting all of this, module 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, plus the 3 bonuses. Plus, if you book tonight, you get the special bonus, and it is a one-time payment of $297. Unless you're struggling right now and you need the 2-payment option. And trust me, there have been times in my life where I've needed the 2-pay option, and it's made a difference for me. But yes, Tamara, I'm offering all of that for $297. And I know sometimes it can come across as a bit too good to be true. And that's what I've been trying to find a way to do, is to create something that is super awesome value that's going to help you get started. So Crystal's asking, what about finding people to sign up for these programs in groups when you have a small list and have trouble getting people to sign up? Hope that makes sense. So if I'm understanding the question correctly, how I'm interpreting this is, Crystal, you're asking, if you've just got a small list, how do you get people into your programs? Well, there are ways of getting out there to actually grow your list. Speaking engagements are a way of doing that. And sometimes when you're starting out, a speaking engagement might be 5 or 10 people. It might be your local community group. It might be a group of senior citizens. And it's not necessarily all the time are you going to get people who sign up from that. But by getting out there and by actually getting there speaking, you're honing your skills, you're getting better, you're learning what doesn't work, what does work, and you're getting used to finding the means of actually getting speaking engagements. There's ways of doing things now online with Facebook that, man, if I had known about this 20 years ago, my business would be, over the moon, crazy, successful, much sooner. Than what I'm achieving now. So you have resources available to you that I never had when I started this. The biggest thing that you need, Crystal, is the will to make it happen. And when you get clear on it and the will, and you show up every day and you're productive, you'll be amazed at what actually shows up in your life. It's pretty impressive when focus and productivity actually kicks in, what you can actually do. Okay, so let's go. Okay, so the offer is up there for you. You have, it's just under 6 hours now to take me up on it. It's a one-time payment of $297. You can either go straight to PayPal and pay me, Sherry@returntofood.com. Once you pay, I will send you an email confirming your spot and just give you a little bit of housekeeping details about what you can expect about it. That course, the first module will roll out in June. So it's not available right away because I am creating it, and you will, you'll get started in June. And the last module, the last bonus module, will be the bonus that's from tonight only, which I'm going to show you how I actually created the program. And what you'll have is you'll have login details that will take you to a dashboard where you'll be able to access the course. You're going to have videos, and you're going to have PDFs, and what you'll be able to do is access that material. You'll be able to download it right away. So if you can actually listen to it and study it online, you'll be given a module each week. And then from that time, you have lifetime access to it. So it's not just something that you have the 5 weeks with the bonuses and then that's up. You have lifetime access to it and you can actually download it. And then there's also a Facebook group that, that you'll be invited to be, so that we can actually, ask questions of me, that kind of thing. Are there any other questions that are coming up for anyone? Have I answered your questions? Scrolling through to make sure. Is there anything you want to ask me personally? It is US dollars, Bronwyn. Yeah, the price is US dollars. I'm definitely, yeah, That's US. I think. Got that there. Mm-hmm. One of the last pieces that I'm going to leave you with, because I think we've spent a lot of time together, and that's 2 hours is a long time to be on a webinar. One of the biggest questions I ask myself day to day is whether I'm making decisions based on love or based on fear. And for most of my life, I can honestly tell you that most of my decisions have been based on fear. And I remember Anthony Robbins saying, any decision based on fear is the wrong decision. And often when we have the opportunity to do these programs, the thing that gets in the way is our own fear, not so much about other people or whether the product's right, but will this be something that will actually make a difference? Will I actually do this? Will I actually do this? And what I want to encourage you to do is to kind of tap into that love space, a love for you and a love of what it is that you want to be doing in the world. And make your decision from that space. Make your decision from your gut of what it is that you want to do, and to start to step into learning what it is you need to learn to grow yourself to be the person that's going to make a difference in all those people's lives of the legacy that you want to leave. So Chris, you're saying, can you please spell the store, the online store websites that you mentioned? That sounded something like, Udemy. It's spelled U-D-E-M-Y. That's the store where you can actually put your courses up for free, Udemy. And the other course where you can actually buy, that creates the websites and the sales funnel to actually sell courses and put your own courses up, is Kajabi, K-A-J-A-B-I, right? So Udemy is free. They take a percentage of the courses that you learn. And Kajabi starts at about, I think it's now gone up to $129 US a month to have your courses hosted on that. Tamara, does your book talk about how you generated your own personal transformation? There's definitely aspects of my own personal story in the book, and the coaching method that I used with clients, the transformational coaching method, is definitely covered in the book about the areas that I work on. So the philosophies and the concept of hypernourishment are definitely in there. And that's basically, these are things that I actually figured out on my own journey to have that transformation. Brandy, does the Zoodle Maker come in the mail just as the book did? Okay, Brandy, I just have a little bit of transparency here. I ran out of Zoodle Makers when I was mailing them when I was in the States. And so I actually, your Zoodle Maker you're the only one who didn't get a Zoodle Maker sent at the same time of that load of books that I mailed before I left the States. And so your Zoodle Maker is coming straight from Amazon, where I sell it online. Okay, Yumi says, is it possible to start the program later than June? Yes, Yumi, it absolutely is. And basically, once you sign up for the program, you have online access to it, so you can visit it whenever it is that you want. So you can start in June when you get in the first week, when the first module's delivered, or you can start it when you finish your schooling or after the summer. It's there for you to access. And as I mentioned, it's lifetime access. So I hope that answered the question. Okay, Chris, just wanted to say thank you so much. A really inspiring seminar and lots of things for me to think on as I continue my studies. Well done on your excellent work, and all the best to everyone else with everything. Well, Chris, that's pretty awesome. Thank you for the feedback. I really appreciate that. Okay, well, feel free, if you have any questions after the webinar, to send them to me. I want to thank you, one and all, everyone online who actually showed up. Can I tell you, this is amazing. That many people who have registered have actually stayed online. You guys are absolutely amazing for doing that. And I'm, totally honored that you actually spent this time with me. Please feel free to ask me any questions. You've got my email address here, Sherry@returntofood. And if it is something that you feel called to do, if you are motivated to really make a difference in people's lives, and you want to get off on the right foot to actually starting your business, and just to save time and angst and resources and money, I would dearly love to be your coach. And I would love it if you joined us on this program. It's just simply a matter of clicking the register button or going straight to PayPal and popping in your $297 to Sherry@returntofood.com. And I would be grateful and honored to serve you. So thank you, Dora. Thanks, Jerry. Great, Sherry, great job. And I'm looking forward to learning more. And Tamara, thank you very much for all you do. This was wonderful. I look forward to continue to learn more from you. That's awesome. So I just want to, I think we can end here. I'd love to see you on the course. It's, I promise you, it will be worth way more than the value that I'm delivering, because I'm committed totally to you having amazing success doing this amazing work and creating not just a holistic lifestyle for you, but an abundant holistic lifestyle. I'm so honored that you guys stayed on for this long. It's just amazing. And I hope to see you further in the program, and if not, in other areas online and hopefully live someday. So thank you very much for your time, and just sending you guys all a big virtual hug and lots of love. Take care. Bye.